Indigenous Strands has thigh length, natural, kinky hair, but she didn't get there overnight. She's been growing her hair for many, many years, and there's one key thing that has been a big part of her routine. Maybe it's something that you might want to consider for yourself. We don't know. We're going to talk about it in this video because it's something that could help you to grow your hair longer and quicker. But it is totally going against the grain. So let's talk about it. Okay, Indigenous Strands has always talked about the importance of looking after the ends of her hair. She really talks about the fact that they are the eldest parts of her hair and therefore need the most caring for. And some of the ways that she does that, she talks very openly about this as well, is that she's very gentle with her ends. She finger detangles and doesn't really use any tools. She sometimes uses oil treatments and does the baggy method. I don't know if she still does that, but that's something that I have heard her say and do in the past. She uses flaxseed gel to seal her ends and she tucks her ends away. She wears protective styles, sometimes puts her hair in wraps and things like that. Now, these are all great tips, and they're tips that we have definitely, we've implemented. These are tips that I've implemented and they have helped me to grow longer hair, but they're not new to us. Okay, there is something else that I think Indigenous Strands would attribute to her length, and so that's what we're going to talk about.
So I just posted a reel on how I haven't trimmed my hair in 13 years.
Right, so Indigenous Strands has shared that she has not trimmed her hair in 13 years. Wow. Okay, this is really interesting. Very, very unconventional. So let's find out why.
And this is one of the comments. So thank you so much for commenting this, because I've said so many times that I treat each and every strand of my hair like an ancestor that I've never met. And another reason why I don't trim my hair on the more spiritual side of it is because I feel like the ends of my hair are protections and guardians for the rest.
Okay, so the first reason, she shared that she treats every strand of hers like an ancestor that she's never met. Honestly, I don't 100% know what she means by that, but yeah, that's her view and I'm not going to comment on that, but that sounds like that's one of her reasons. And then the second reason she shared was the fact that she feels as though her ends are protections for the mid shaft of her hair. So if you imagine, let me do this strand. So if you imagine this strand, this part is the ends of my hair, okay? And if I were to cut off this part, then this part becomes the ends of my hair, doesn't it? And so her point is that she feels that keeping the ends of her hair then helps to protect the mid shaft of her hair. So that's a really interesting point as to why she decides to keep them, which, as we know, is totally contrary to the point about not keeping our ends, because if we have split ends, then they are going to travel up our hair. Personally, I don't know if that is the accurate terminology for what happens with split ends. I don't think it's so much that the split ends travel, the split ends can't themselves move, but I believe what it is that in the movement of our hair, every time we touch our hair, every time we comb through it, every time we manipulate it in any way, if we do have split ends, what will happen is the split will rip even further, and that's what kind of causes it to travel in that sense. That's how I understand it to be. Yeah, I don't know. Feel free to chime in, but I mean, even though this is what she's been doing and she hasn't trimmed her hair in 13 years, let's actually have a look at what her ends look like. So, I mean, to me, her ends look absolutely beautiful. They look luscious. They're like, I love the curliness. I love the waviness. She looks like she has protected them very, very well. Of course, I wouldn't be able to see split ends or single strand knots from a video or a picture because it's not that close up. But, that's what her ends look like. And as she says in the video, it looks great for the fact that she hasn't trimmed her hair in 13 years. So what does she do instead then, instead of not trimming her hair? Because I don't think it's just the fact that she has not trimmed her hair for 13 years and that's it. No, there's something that she does instead.
So I tend to really take care of them, really nurture them, and really make sure that they're hydrated and they're really moisturized to prevent me having to trim.
Okay, I hope you caught that. So she's talked about the importance of hydrating her strands, re-moisturizing them, and she does that to be able to prevent herself from having to trim. So I've talked about this on a previous video where I found out that Indigenous Strands was re-moisturizing her hair, or adding liquid moisture, things like that, to her hair every 2 days. And initially when I did that video, I didn't quite consider why, but I realize now that if she is continually keeping the ends of her hair well looked after, well hydrated, well moisturized, then of course that is the main thing that she's doing to be able to prevent her from having to trim her hair as regularly as maybe I would, or many of you watching this video. So I mean, if we did the same, then is there a possibility that we wouldn't, similar to her, we also wouldn't have to trim our ends? Dare I even say that? Because I know that like the comments are going to come back right now, but I just think this is a really interesting thing for us to at least talk about and discuss and see how we view this, because I think it's very interesting that she has such an unconventional way of maintaining the length of her hair, but yet it is working very, very well for her. Right. Coily Chrissy left a comment on one of my recent videos and I really resonated with this comment. I'm going to read it to you. So she said, yes, so true. I'm going to read it how I believe that she would say it. So, okay, I hope you catch this. Okay. Right. Yes. So true. I feel like it's taken me forever to get to tailbone because I keep dusting. And even though I love Indigenous Strands and I try not to trim, she said, the thinning on my ends drives me crazy, especially when I see others with thick, full ends. We have to learn to accept our hair the way it is, sis, because my ends literally become exactly the same after trimming. Maybe some people ends are just naturally thinner because that's just their hair. All right, I hope you caught that. And I hope I didn't butcher that patois. Shout out to all my Jamaicans. If you don't know about Coily Chrissy, please go and have a look at her channel after this video is finished. I'm going to link it down in the description box below. But she is on her own hair journey, which is absolutely beautiful to watch. So yeah, I really resonated with this point because absolutely, I have also felt like I want to trim my hair just for the sake of it looking not thinner, just for the sake of it looking fuller and even at the ends, but it just grows back in thinner. Now, somebody commented and responded to that, which again, I just thought this was such a great point, and I really thought it was poignant to bring to this video. So Minot, not too sure how I'm pronouncing that, but she responded and said, remember, shed hair is always growing back in, so the hair closer to the scalp will always be thicker or fuller than the ends. Isn't that right? Like, as we know, we have our hair has phases. And if a hair is shedding and a shed hair falls out, then what happens is another hair strand is going to grow in. So as you can imagine, the hair at the root is of course going to be much thicker, much fuller than the hair at the ends. But it goes to show that there is naturally going to be some unevenness. And so it really begs the question, why are we so bent on ensuring that our ends look even? Why is that the look? Do you know what I mean? Why is that the look when that's not actually how our hair grows? Our hair grows at different rates. Our strands grow at different rates. They're all in different phases. So then why are we trimming them as though they are all in the same phase? They're not, and it's okay for them not to be. So these are my thoughts. Now, I know that this is a really controversial thing. So I want this to be a bit of an open forum. I feel like there's going to be kind of maybe 3 different types of people who may be watching this video and may have different views on it. I feel like there will be the professionals who, of course, the professionals, they, well, I don't want to say what you will say, but there's the professionals, okay? The professional stylists who have trained in natural hair. Then I believe potentially on the other side of that scale, there are maybe people like myself who have the experience of growing our own natural hair. And so, you know, we've gone through the experience of it. People like Indigenous Strands as well. She has her own experience of growing her natural hair. Then I feel like there may be a third person, almost like the person in the middle, who they are also some kind of stylist or professional, but they also have experience of growing their own natural hair. So I'm thinking of somebody like Tanya Lane. Can't remember her channel. Is it Curly Chemistry? I think it's called. Or somebody like Naturally High. You know, she is also a professional in her own right as well, but has also grown her hair. You know, it's probably down to her bum now as well. I don't even know. So I really want to hear from all of these people. I want to hear from all of you. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on, you know, not necessarily specifically Indigenous strands, but just this idea of maybe are we too overzealous with trimming our hair to make it look even, to make it look thicker, to make it look fuller? Are we overdoing it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just give me your thoughts. I want this to be an open forum. So I'm really open to hearing every person's view. I think we should all be respectful in the comments. You know, nobody has to tear anybody down. And we definitely don't need to be speaking anything negatively about Indigenous Strands. You know, her hair journey is absolutely amazing. And she has gone before a lot of us to help teach me, certainly, how I can grow my hair. So let's be respectful in the comments, but I do want you to comment and let me know your thoughts on this whole not trimming our hair, the potential of not trimming it for 13 years. You know, I would really be interested to have a chat in the comments with you all. Now, we only talked about Indigenous Strands and her ends and how she takes care of her ends, and in terms of the, you know, not trimming. But I do have another video where it talks a bit more about her more rounded routine. So if you're open to and you're interested in listening to that, then I'm going to link it above for you. And also, if you're kind of totally stuck and you're someone that is wanting to grow your hair long, but you have absolutely no idea, maybe this video is just totally new for you. Like, wow, people are on here on YouTube talking about hair growth and you didn't even know. I'm going to put a link down below for you to get some free tips on how you can grow your hair to, you know, past your plateau stage, and that's going to help you. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you over in the next video. It's on the screen now.